Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
Have you ever thought to yourself, there's more out there for me? Everything that you feel that should be in your life maybe is not here yet. Maybe it's your job, maybe your personal relationships. Maybe there's just something inside that doesn't align with everything around you. You just feel like a little off. Maybe you need to attract what you want. It's called the law of attraction. We're going to learn about that today and so much more when it comes to everything metaphysical. She is known as the Divine Angel Oracle, and she joins us today with a lot of insight. Carrie Beaird is here with us. How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Welcome. This whole thing with the law of attraction, is it real?
Yes, definitely. I say if you believe in something, you can actually get it. You can attain it. Definitely.
So there is a process for it. And I always hear different ways of manifesting, and that's part of it too, the
Right.
manifestation for the law of attraction.
Definitely. I always say that when you're, like, for example, when I was younger, this is a true example. I was in college and I was like, oh my gosh, I want a sports car. And I was driving like from college to my home, and I would be like pretending the whole time I was in a sports car. And I'm like, I've got to have a Corvette. Oh my gosh, I have to have a Corvette. And I'd be driving down the street up to, or actually, let me pull back. Actually, I'd be driving and I'd be in my Celica. That's not really a sports car. It's a Toyota Celica. Come
Sure.
on. And I was like pretending in my mind. I would actually visualize it because you have to visualize this. And I was driving and I'm pretend I was in a Corvette the whole time. Well, come 2 years later, I was graduating from college, and I said, I'm going to go get me a sports car. Well, I didn't get the Corvette, but I got something really close. I got a Dodge Stealth. So it was pretty close.
What color?
White.
Okay, nice.
So, I mean, it's really true. You might not get exactly what you want, but you get pretty close if you manifest and really believe in what you're getting.
So based on what you just said, and that's what I've heard before, is that you can't get too specific.
Right.
So you wanted a sports car, you got a sports car.
Right.
If you want to manifest or attract using the law of attraction, let's say your perfect partner, you can't say, okay, this is what I want. And she also, or he has to have brown hair, dark eyes, but no, you got to leave it a little loose, but the things you truly want. But yes, to your point, I've always heard that you need to visualize it's arrived.
Right.
It's here right now. And same thing in the car.
And another thing too is writing it down. Actually journaling it too helps. Not only just visualizing it, but putting it down and also saying it out loud.
So lots of questions about that, because I always wonder about the whole process. Should you manifest it? Let's say like you were driving, you're visualizing, you're in the car, I can smell the new car smell, the leather seats.
Right.
Hey, somebody just waved to me. How you doing? You got the music going, and then you let it go. Because I heard that if you keep
obsessing,
yes, that now you're turning that positive into a negative, and especially never to say this, like, when is it going to show up?
Yeah, if you doubt,
yeah,
forget it. You're not going to get it.
So is it basically manifest it and release it?
Pretty much.
Yeah. Okay.
It's like you have to believe in it 100%. You can't have any doubts.
And also believe that you deserve it, because many of us think that, based on maybe triggers, traumas from our childhood, that we're not good enough. And then we think that, I'm probably not going to get it because it's just, I don't deserve it, any of that.
And I'll give you another example. I'm actually a nurse practitioner too. So not only do I have the Eastern side of medicine or whatever holistic, I have the Western side too. So, for example, when I got out of college, 'cause that's what I went to college for, was a nurse practitioner. I didn't know if you knew that or not.
No, I didn't. We talked before, but I never knew that. All right. Well, it's very interesting, like the insight. And I'm just digress here, but a lot of people I know who are either psychics, intuitive, and I know you have mediumship abilities. They have a medical background.
Interesting.
Like one of the most famous psychics, not going to name this person, before he started off on the path of being a psychic medium, he was a phlebotomist.
That is so cool.
But a lot of people
had a medical background.
Yeah. All right. So tell
anyway, I always believed when I would go on my interview that they needed me more than I needed them. when I went into the interview, I was very confident, and I was like, I'm going to get this job. And every interview I went into, I got.
Wow.
So if you believe in yourself that much, you can achieve it. You
But
can
that's
get it.
not to say that you go
That
into
you're
the
gonna,
interview
right.
being cocky. Like, yeah,
Right.
okay.
No.
What do you
It's a
got for me here? Yeah.
humbleness to it.
Yes. Yeah. Just the belief that, yeah, I'm
Mhm.
good and you guys need me. And
Right.
I know you do. And I'm here for you.
And that's what they tell, my daughter's an actress, and that's what they tell actors and things like that in actor workshops, is that you want to go in there thinking you're the one for that job,
Wow.
and
Okay.
you'll get the role. Maybe not 100% of the time,
Kind of
because
fake it
it's
till you make it.
kind of, yeah.
A little bit there. So the law of attraction, the manifestation, writing it down is key as well.
hmm
How often do you write it down?
Well, there's different ways to do it. You could write down 50 times. I want this, I want this, I want this, I want. And it's better than saying what I want. It's better saying I have it already.
Yes.
Because if you say I want, that's kind of like a lack.
And it's also a negative.
Exactly.
It's a slight negative.
It is. It's kind of like you're saying it's a lack.
Yeah.
That I want it because you don't have
You're
it.
lacking it. Right.
So it's better to say I already have it. That way it's already known that you have it. And another thing too is it doesn't really matter how many times you do it. It's more of the belief, like we said. So it's better just to, it's kind of like you can write your story. Like every day you can create a story.
In that way.
Yeah.
Yeah. You are really creating your story.
Yeah. It's like a script. Every morning you can get up and write your script for the day.
And I know that we've mentioned this before, but the connection between the mind and the hand in writing it down is so impactful. You could type it on your phone, but not the best way to do it because it's the mind connection.
And you've heard of vision boards.
Yes.
It's like, doing a vision board almost every day.
I don't have time for that. I just don't. I'll write things down. I'll journal. Yeah. And I have friends that do vision boards. Yeah.
I do one every year.
Okay. Well,
too bad I didn't bring it.
Yeah, but fair enough. With it, a year is okay. It's almost like, kind of a reset, clean slate, moving forward. And then for those times where you manifest, you want more insight, then we have things like tarot cards or tarot cards. How do you pronounce it?
I say tarot.
Tarot. Okay.
But it could be tarot. There's all kinds of ways to say it.
Potato.
2 ways really to say it. I don't know.
What about the difference between tarot and oracle?
Okay. This is a tarot deck, or tarot, however you want to say it. And a tarot, and this is an oracle deck. So
Gotcha.
I brought two different ones. And a tarot deck's actually, there's specifics to a tarot deck. There's 78 cards to every tarot deck. There's always 78. Now, an oracle deck will have anywhere from, say, 30 cards to 115. But a tarot deck always has 78. And in a tarot deck, there's certain elements to it. There's four elements, like the wands, the pentacles, the swords, and the cups. And there's also pages, knights, queens, and kings.
This is why I don't do this. I can never. This is like way, way over my pay grade. And then,
so there's actually a kind of like a science to it, a science and art. And then there's also what they call a minor arcana and a major arcana. There's two separate, I guess, I don't know, things. Major and minor. The major is actually major life occurrences that are happening to you. And then you have minor, which is, they're like everyday life. Okay. So that's kind of like a quick analysis of a tarot deck.
I've heard that they are, compared to Oracle, darker, deeper, and that's why if people don't want to go down that road, that's why they pivot over to Oracle.
They're kind of more they have reversals to them, which can be darker. Like if they come upside down. I tend to keep mine more upright because I like them to be more positive.
All right. I never knew there was a difference between the
If you get them upside down, like for example, I'm just going to do an upside down one for you.
Sure.
So I'm just going to pull one right now. Oh, and by the way, let me clear the space. So this is sage and Palantos.
Okay.
So we're going to clear the space. I usually do the ones where you
Is this now? This is.
It's going to be sage.
That is sage spray.
Smudge spray, which is sage,
okay.
which that has to do with clearing negative space. If you did Palo Santos, that's like putting positive back in.
Gotcha. Okay.
So we're clearing the space.
Can you do
And
both
yeah, you can do both.
after each, do
Hmm.
one and then do the other?
Hmm.
Okay.
And
Wow.
we're putting in the space a positive experience. There's nothing negative here.
Mm-hmm.
God is here with us, or whoever you believe in, and nothing of evil or toxic can be here when I do this.
My visual of it is almost as if by doing that, this is a fresh deck.
Yeah,
Even though this deck has been
yeah.
with
This
you
has been
since
cleaned.
your teens, right?
Hmm.
You've
Yes,
held on to this.
yes.
Okay, which is amazing.
Since I was 17.
There, I expected these cards to be like tattered on
This is
the
my
edges.
deck.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I
Wow.
know. I've kept it pretty sturdy.
Yeah. Well, it served you well. Served
Yes,
you
I
well.
love it. And I have over 500 decks or more at home.
You're like
A collector.
hoarder.
Hoarder. Yeah, a hoarder. I consider it a collector to be more positive.
Yeah.
So I'll let you pick one, actually.
Oh, all right. Is it? Do I
You
have to
can do it
feel
however you want to. If
All
you
right.
want to feel one, whatever, like if you feel the energy in it, or say, this is the one that feels good to me.
I
'Cause
keep
they
coming
do
back to
have,
this one.
yeah.
I don't know why.
And then just we'll show it.
Should I
Okay.
ask a question first?
You don't have to. It can be general.
Okay.
Yeah. So this one upside down says inconsistency of honor, possible immorality, dishonesty, something that you're not being true about. Or it could be, I can't read it. I need my glasses. Vice, untrusty. So something that you're either not telling the truth about. And it could be to yourself. Something
Okay.
that you're not being true about to yourself.
Now, I never realized that there's text here and text
That's
here.
just this deck.
Okay, and then the difference was how do you know where you pulled it this way? Because these symbols on the back here look identical.
Exactly. You don't. That's why I usually keep mine right side up.
How do you know it's right side up? Or you check the other side of the deck?
I knew that because when I kept it upside,
Gotcha.
and then I turned it upside down.
Hmm.
But this is the Queen of Cups, and Queen of Cups generally means relationships. All cups means about relationships. So
Interesting.
that's why I said yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And not somebody else. Because to me, it feels like you're not telling your truth about something, yourself. And
I gotta tell you, I'm like super honest. Like I'm like.
But
fully
it's something
transparent.
that's mysterious to you. You're in your subconscious
Right.
that you're not telling the truth to yourself.
Right.
So you have to
Or you're not
meditate.
being true to yourself.
Right.
Okay.
Or meditate on it and try to figure out what is it I'm not telling myself that I need to know.
I would say that could be true.
Yeah, and it could
really
be. So I'm going to put it back in there upside down. And I like to do them upside right. But that's just a negative. You know what I mean? It was like a negative. But so you can still get negatives on the upright.
So
too.
on the one side where we have the copy at the top or the message at the top and the bottom, one is more positive, one is more negative.
Yeah, that's usually how it is.
Got it.
But you will get some negative stuff on the top too. It's just not as harsh.
Got it.
And these came with like giving you some, so you can. It's kind of like a beginner deck. But I like it because it keeps me on my toes also, and it gives me more information. So I'm not sitting here going, what is temperance? Temperance means balance,
Right.
And what else does it mean? Oh, let me look. It says successful combination and harmony and bringing together. Oh, and I put some notes here too about in moderation. And
can we also look at with any cards or any card readings how you select the card?
Okay.
Is it energy?
I'll show you how
what
I
are
do
you
it.
feeling? How are you doing it?
So how I do it.
Why the card that I picked out? I had my eyes closed and I kind of felt, I kept going back to the
that
one
one
card.
because it's kind of stood out to you.
Yeah.
Kind of like your vision went to that one and it kind of stood out.
And I went to other ones, and for some reason,
a lot of it has to do with your intuition.
Which I want to talk about in a moment.
Yeah. So like when I'm shuffling a card, I shuffle like this. I just kind of shuffle, and it takes practice. Like I'll let you hold my deck and try it.
I'm horrible at shuffling cards.
I want you to try it though.
I really am.
But and usually some people will not let you hold their cards, but I let people hold my cards because I'll just clean them, and I clean them with sage, which is burning sage. But I just shuffle like this, and sometimes some will just fly out, and they're called I can't ever remember what they're called. So I did this before, flyers or something like that. But I just shuffle like that. See, that one almost wanted to come out, so I'm taking it out now. So that one.
Wouldn't it be funny if it was the same card that I pulled?
I know, wouldn't it?
I would get up and walk away. That would be too much for me.
See, those wanted to come out too. They just kind of fell out a little bit, and I could feel them. and that one. So
By
this
the
has
way,
to
this is the first time I've ever gotten a true explanation,
of
um,
tarot.
but before my eyes, and everybody else's, where the cards have two. These particular ones have two
Yeah, two
messages,
meanings.
and all of that.
Yeah, so well that's good. So this has to do with relationships again, cups. So 9 of cups. And so this is talking about hopes realized, joy, success, material attainment, advantage, well-being, abundance, good health, victory, difficulties, su- uh,
Difficulties surmounted,
surmounted,
stability,
stability,
wishes
wishes
fulfilled.
fulfilled.
This was actually the card that I meant to pull.
This is your card. See, you got your hands right here. You're fulfilled. And then you got the 8 of coins. So this is talking about apprenticeship, commitment, the task at hand. So this is like hard work.
Maybe I'm reading into it, but they kind of, in my mind, go hand in hand.
hmm
Hard work
Hard
will
work
lead
led
to,
to that. Yes.
yeah.
And then the hermit. This has to do with your other card, going within yourself and
Hmm.
searching what is it that I'm not telling myself. And then you have the page of coins, which has to do deep. Doesn't that make sense? Going deep within.
Yeah.
And then it has to do with study, scholarship, reflection again, going deep within.
Yeah.
So they go hand in hand. So it has something to do with work, hard at work, thinking about like, what is it that I'm not seeing? What is it that I really want to do? What is it that I'm missing? That kind of thing.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Let's pivot over to intuition.
Okay.
I've always heard, and I do believe that we all have intuition,
Mm-hmm. We
all
do.
of us.
We're born with it.
But the challenge is blocking everything out so that you can hear it, trust it,
Mm-hmm.
understand it. How do we do that?
Well, this is the hardest thing for me too. Meditation. And you can meditate all kinds of ways. Like you can even just walk and meditate. You don't have to close your eyes to meditate. You can be driving in your car and
Hmm.
meditate.
Yeah. Yep.
Sorry. You just have to realize that you can shut off all that chatter in your mind and actually meditate.
I feel you have to just find the sweet spot what works for you. Like
Mm-hmm.
somebody told me this past week, and I think Amazon is delivering later today. Blindfold. It's like a
Hmm.
sleep mask, but it's really not, where it
Yeah.
blocks out all the light. You can still open your eyes
Mm-hmm.
to see your third eye,
Mm-hmm.
and just
And
some
some people don't know what a
for
third eye is.
for 12, let's talk about that.
Yeah.
But for $12, I'm like, you know what? Let me try that. Maybe I'll see. They swear that they just look at like 20 degrees up with the mask on, and they see images, colors,
Mm-hmm.
which I guess is your
Sometimes you'll see
intuition.
like animals or little things that come through, your mind. A lot of times when I close my eyes, I see colors, and then I see like butterflies, or I'll see a heart, or I'll see a bunny rabbit, or I'll see a locket, or I'll see
But
a
then, what does it
candle.
all mean?
I have to figure it out. I have to put it together and start figuring out like a, a loved one's coming through because I'm a medium too, or I have to figure out like, and I ask, what does this mean, God? Please tell me what you're
Hmm.
trying to show me.
Forget about that. To ask for the answer.
Yeah.
Hmm. Because I
So,
will ask for signs, and I
mm-hmm.
get them.
Right.
And I don't do it all the time because it's almost like, I look at it as like the genie with the three wishes. I don't
Yeah.
want to overdo it unless I really need it. But when
Right.
I ask, they're very specific.
Mm-hmm.
And they're always connected to my mom.
And there's always signs around, like you've heard of synchronicities,
Mm-hmm.
like the 111, which are angel numbers, and 222 and 333.
What is 222?
222, I can't remember exactly. I don't remember.
I
I know
think
555 is change.
is it really?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Hmm.
And 111 has to do with angels specifically. I think. I always have to look them
I
up.
think it's the 222. Could be wrong.
Yeah.
But somebody told me that. And my friend named her company 333.
Mm-hmm.
And she's really successful. So I don't know if
Yeah.
that there's a connection there or
Mm-hmm.
whatever it might be. But when you get those images, when you meditate,
Mm-hmm.
and you said, like an animal could pop up, rabbit or whatever, is it almost like a dream? Like when you wake up from a dream and then why did I see that? Why am I thinking of that in my
When I
dream?
see it, is it like a dream? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Kind of, because when I see it, it's not so, what do you call it? Detailed. It's almost like a little cloud that I see. It's
Okay.
not really, dreams are a little more detailed than what I see when I'm meditating.
So almost like blurred out
Mhm,
images, but you
mhm,
know what it is,
mhm.
but we really need to put it together in
Yeah.
pieces.
Mhm.
When you go with, okay, is intuition the same thing as a gut feeling?
Similar.
What's the difference?
I always say go with your gut, which to me is intuition. And it's kind of like I'm claircognizant, which means feeling psychic, like a person who feels instead of sees.
Okay.
So, which I can see things too, but not as much as I feel. Like I just know. I know something's going to happen. And I'm like, I know this is going to happen. I know it. I know I can feel it. That is the kind of psychic I am. And then there's other ones like clairaudient, where you hear things. And
Right.
I've got a little bit of that too, but I'm more of a claircognizant. Like I just know it. I know this is going to happen. This is going to happen. This I know it.
It sounds like, Carrie, you've gotten to the point where you trust yourself.
Mhm.
Like when you get it, that's what it is. I know what it is, and
Mhm.
that's that.
Yeah, and it took me a long time to get there, but I started knowing that I had a gift when I was a teenager because, like, I told you this before. Um, when the phone would ring, I could tell there were different tones in the phone ringing, the way it sounded. And I would answer the phone and I would be like, "Hey Andy, hey Christina," before caller ID.
Right.
And they would freak my friends out. They'd be like, "No, don't do that."
So when the phone rang, the rest of us would just hear a ring.
But I would hear a little difference in the tone, and it would be my friends.
Wow. Do you think,
So to me, that was
because,
clairaudient a little bit.
but we're all energy,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And when the phone rings, there's energy being transferred, not only from the person, but to make the phone ring, whether it's a cell phone or a phone from back in the day.
There's different hertz,
Yes.
vibrations,
But you seem like you were more in tune
tune.
to that person calling,
Hmm.
um, where the
Just by
rest
a
of us would
little
just
bit
hear
difference
a
to
little
each.
different, like
Yeah,
different pitch,
yeah.
whatever it might be.
Hmm.
Wow. Good.
Yeah, it was really interesting.
Like great thing to pull off, like you're at a party. The phone rings. Wow. Um, Final question, and I don't want to talk about crystals, but when it comes to the gut feeling or the intuition, I've often heard that you want the answer, and
Right.
I believe, and I think you do too, that we have the answer inside of us. We all, it's here. You just need to interpret it or
Hmm.
hear it or recognize it. Do you go with the first thing?
You're supposed to. Just like when you're taking a test, they always say don't go back in a race because you go with your first gut feeling.
Yeah, because once you don't, now you're overthinking it, and
Hmm.
it's almost as if like you had
You obscured it.
right,
Hmm.
like the you had a puddle of water and it was all clear, clean
Hmm.
water. There it
Hmm.
is. Now you've muddied up the water with dirt and everything because now
Hmm.
you've overthought it, and
Hmm.
now you don't even know what the original thought was.
Was.
Like, I think that's what it was, but I'm not really sure. So
Right.
always go with the first thing that pops in your head.
Right.
Okay.
Even
So
though sometimes you don't want to and it feels so bad, you're like, no, no, no. I don't want to go with that first thought because it doesn't seem right. But you're supposed to.
you know what it is also? It seems too easy,
Hmm.
but it is.
I know. Just like I'll give you an example too. When I was taking my nurse practitioning test for my license, I said, okay, I'm going to take this test and I'm not going to go back in a race or anything. I'm just going to take it and go with my first gut feeling. I got through with that test so easily and I passed.
Hmm.
It was like, I made like a B on like an 84 on it, but still, I was like, I'm just going to do it. I'm just going to go with my first answer
Yep.
and be done with it. I didn't make 100, but I made an 84, which is pretty dang good.
Yeah. And even does it matter whether you got a
I got
60?
passed.
You passed with a 65 or an 84? Doesn't really
Exactly.
matter.
Right.
You
So I
passed.
did good,
Right. You did well.
And I
Yeah,
was like, I was
absolutely.
done. They were like, you're done? Like, they were shocked. I was done so quickly.
I think it's the same thing too when somebody has an idea for a business and there it is and can't be that
Hmm.
easy. No way. Let me think about this more and then all the reasons why you shouldn't do it and then
Hmm.
once you go on
We just
that
tend to
path.
overthink when you should just go with your gut.
Yeah. I have a friend that does that. Her name is Tina and I call her OTT, overthinking Tina. And even
OTT,
like
that's
we'll be
cute.
sitting at dinner and I tell the server, it's like, it's going to be a while. It's going to be a while. I
She
said,
doesn't
don't
know if she wants
OTT.
this or that. Or
And then when she comes up with it fast, I'm like, there you go. and,
exactly. It was
and,
perfect.
and it was perfect.
Uh huh.
Exactly.
Hmm.
Let's talk about crystals.
Okay. So there are many crystals out there.
Sure.
I mean, many, but I brought my favorite ones. So we'll go over them. So the first one I want to go over is a quartz crystal. And a quartz crystal has to do with a master healer crystal. So this one heals your body. Its energy is healing. It's healing properties. And they have record keepers in like a Himalayan crystal. Like this is what this is. And record keepers actually have millions of years of knowledge in them. And they're little stripes. I don't know if you can see them.
You know
They're
what?
little
Let's.
stripes.
I want to put it down on the table
Okay.
and let's see if we can get a shot of that. I know
Okay.
it's so tiny.
I
But
know. I don't know if you can see
yeah,
the little lines.
I think it might be hard to see it, but
This one might be better right here on this side.
yeah, right over there. There are little lines, but
Yeah.
it's. Would you say that that's the equivalent of if you were to cut a tree and you see the rings in the
Yes,
tree?
very similar.
So it like
Yeah,
tells
that's a
the
good way to
story about the
ana-
crystal, tells the
analyze.
story about the tree.
Yeah, to analyze that. That's a good way to put it. Very
Hmm.
smart.
The stuff just comes to me like that, because that's what it
Why
seems
can't you
like.
be in my side pocket?
I don't have all the answers. So why is that so? This quartz crystal, why
Well,
is
like
it
I
so
could
impactful?
study into it. Like if I really wanted to. One time I was at a shop and I actually saw an alien, like from a past life, in the crystal. I know that sounds crazy, but I did. I was like, oh my gosh, there's like an alien in this crystal, and it was actually from a past life. I mean, I know that sounds crazy, but I can't really explain it to the audience. But I was like in a crystal shop and I was telling one of the owners who's really into crystals, and I said, I'm actually seeing an alien in this crystal. He's like, oh my God, that's a past life. He goes, you're seeing one of your past lives in this crystal.
How do you know it's your past life?
That's what he said.
Oh, he said, okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Sorry, but yeah, I was like, that's so interesting. And I've had past life regressions or regressions.
I've never
and-
done one,
Yeah, and
and it's on my
actually,
radar.
I was a fairy one time,
Really?
a little fairy called Tiny.
So I have a question about that.
Yeah.
Did you always have an affinity for fairies or that type of? No?
No, but everybody always says I remind them of a little fairy. I'm like, I guess that's why.
Is there a
So-
time? Have you've done a regression? So
Mhm.
a fairy
Akashic
was
records, that kind of
okay.
thing.
Yeah. Was there a?
And wait till I tell you another thing.
I'm just bringing this up because I have an affinity for the 1800s. I don't know what it is.
You probably have a past life there. That's why.
Like I love watching movies from that time. I
Mhm.
look at I get riveted to pictures
Hmm.
because photography in the latter half of the 1800s was available. But there's something about it. Like it's a simpler way of life.
Hmm.
There's some technology. I gotta believe if I did a regression,
You would be for sure. I'm sure.
it's too.
I feel it.
It's like
I mean,
weird.
there you go.
Like I could be happy. Just send me back there now, and I'm good. And
Exactly.
I'm good.
The horse.
And somebody, well, I wasn't thinking that. Thought I was a cowboy or something not an animal or an otter
You
or
could
a
be a horse.
possum.
Do you know I can communicate with horses?
I believe it.
Yeah, I can.
Somebody has told me once that that's one of the easiest animals to communicate with
Yeah, I can.
because they are so deep in their
Mhm,
thinking. We don't know it. We don't realize
I
it unless
know.
there's communication going on
I
there.
found out 2 summers ago that I could communicate with horses.
Wow.
It was really neat.
And the energy they
Yeah.
have, your energy, their energy. I know somebody that's their job as a communicator with animals, and they can walk into a stall, a barn,
Mhm.
and if the animal was never having it, like just doesn't even look at people, just has an attitude or whatever, she'll walk in and the horse will be like, turn its head, and like, all right, I'm good. What do you got?
Yeah.
What are you here for?
Mhm.
Almost as if the horse knows that
Yeah.
that person was sent for a reason. How about this? This is a
Amethyst.
amethyst. Oh, okay.
And the amethyst is for protection. That's mainly what the amethyst is for. So that's amethyst. It's purple.
Yep.
It's a very pretty stone or a crystal stone. Some people call them stones,
Mhm.
crystals, whatever. And then the same thing with this one, the obsidian. It's for protection. It's black, so it absorbs negative energy, whereas white reflects, like the selenite. So it's actually this is a crystal that if you put this on top of it, it actually cleanses it.
Is it clean it and also does it recharge?
Recharges.
Okay.
Sorry, I didn't say that.
I have so many of these laying around, and I do just that with bracelets. Put them on there.
And don't put this one in water because it'll dissolve it.
Gotcha.
The
Okay.
rest of them you can cleanse with like sage. You can put them out in the moonlight, like especially a full moon. You can also put it in the sunlight, but don't keep them out there longer than 2 hours in the sunlight or they'll fade.
So do you achieve the same thing, like putting this in pure moonlight,
Hmm.
full moon,
Hmm.
as you would if you would have put this on top of the selenite to
You know,
recharge
I
it
don't
within it?
really know which is better or which is best. I should find out. That's a good
Yeah,
answer.
I've
That's
always
a good
wondered
thing.
because, I have bracelets that people have given me that were infused with Reiki and positive
Hmm.
energy,
Hmm.
and they do tell me, yeah, you really got to come back, as a friend. Like, you
Yeah,
got to come
yeah.
back for a touch up.
Yeah, I think it's again, it's intention, I think almost. Like, what do you think works best? You
Well,
know?
then there's that.
So possibly it's
Yeah.
that. I don't know. Because I don't really know. I don't think anybody really knows what is the best.
Well, and that's the mystical part of the
Right.
metaphysical world.
Hmm.
Like when we talk about there could be,
Like when I saw that alien, how do I know he knows what he's talking about?
right,
I don't
right.
know.
But who's to say no?
Right.
And you have an example of law of attraction and
Hmm.
manifestation. Bottom line is, it rides on one common theme, I believe, positivity.
Hmm.
And you know what? If you're just being positive, invariably good things are going to come to you. Like look at people that are
Yeah.
all negative.
And
What do they
like
have?
with Dr. Emoto, the one about the water. Have you heard about that?
No.
Dr. Emoto did a theory on water that if you talk to water in a positive way, the crystals look different underneath a microscope than if you did it negatively.
I believe it.
If you did it negatively, they look like mud and gross and all that. But if you do it positively, they look like snowflakes and beautiful.
I have a friend who
And we're
blesses his
made up,
water.
we're made up of 80% water, our bodies. And just think if you talk positive to you, how beautiful you look inside versus if you're like, oh, I look like crap today. I just don't feel good. And I blah, 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 then you would look awful and feel awful.
Well, you proved it with science, and it's
Yeah.
the same thing with writing it down, the connection between the mind and the hand.
Hmm.
That's been proven too scientifically.
Hmm.
Look it up, Google it. The
I
research
know.
has been done. The guy I know that blesses his water, he'll just take a glass of water, he puts his hand above it, and
Hmm.
he just says, "I honor the space in which you exist."
Hmm. It's kind of
And
like praying over your food.
right, well, people Reiki their food
Yeah.
for the same reason.
Hmm.
I know somebody that even does it one step further, that they honor where it came from. So let's say it was an animal,
Hmm.
they honor the animal, for call it the sacrifice that
Hmm.
was made so that they
Yeah.
can have it.
And then the people who cook it and the people who or
Yeah.
handle it or whatever.
When it comes to you working with people and your company is Starry Sky Connections,
Hmm.
right? Um, what if somebody's not really sure about all this stuff? Because
I've had
it's,
people like that.
yeah.
And at the end, they're like, oh, that wasn't so bad after all. I actually like that.
Right. Well, yeah.
Hmm.
I mean, if you have an interest in it,
Hmm.
once you get into it, and I'm sure you started with one thing, and it's like,
Hmm.
oh, I'm going to go to crystals. I'm going to learn about that. I'm going to
Hmm.
learn manifestation, whatever it
Because
might
I
be.
teach tarot also.
Do you really?
Hmm.
Hmm. Um, with this deck,
Hmm.
should we pull a card from that?
Sure. This is actually my very own deck that I made. And
Can we find these on your website too?
yep,
What's your website?
it's starryskyconnections.com.
Gotcha.
And this is called the Glamour Guidance.
This is like a bougie
Yeah, it's very bougie.
oracle deck.
Yeah, it's glamorous. It's like for example, this is acrylic nails. And then we have flat iron. And then we have face cleanser. But I'm going to pull some.
Okay.
Sorry, my nose is running. And I made my very own deck to go with it. So when you pull a card, it has a number, and you find the number in the deck.
I
And
just
by the way,
realized, I
sorry.
just want to show everybody this because
Okay.
it's so super cool.
Very
But
ironic to
if
me.
you look on the side, I'm going to try and get
Oh,
that.
yeah.
You have the gold lame or
Yeah,
whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
Wow. Like really, really nice. These are like,
Yeah, they're nice cards. I had made sure they were thick and very
yes.
nice cards.
Well,
So,
when you think about it, the deck that you have over there, you've had since you were in your teens, and it served you well. You took care of it.
and it's just a simple deck.
Right. And now this one is reinforced and
Yeah, this is gold gilded.
yeah.
So I got blush, which I'm blushing. No, I'm just kidding. And that one says awaken, which is number 3. And I want you to notice on the back, it symbolizes me, the crown with the wings.
Oh, yeah.
So, because whenever I do readings, I have wings on the back of my chair and I wear a crown.
Well, you are the Divine Angel Oracle.
Right. There's a theme. And I'm going to have you read it because I can't see.
No worries.
Without my glasses.
Which
Number 3,
I am.
awaken.
It's time to wake up and smell the roses. Being grateful is necessary. We're going to talk about that in a second if we have time, about being grateful.
Yes.
To your happiness, everything is starting to make sense because you are seeing the bigger picture now.
Mm-hmm.
I would say that one applies to me.
Mm-hmm.
And this is going to be kind of weird. And I'm not trying to read into this, but remember I said before that I feel my mom is around.
Yeah.
And when I ask for answers, she's there.
Yeah.
It says here, it's time to wake up and smell the roses.
Yeah.
Her name is Rose.
Oh my gosh.
I don't know.
Why does she come around when I'm here?
I don't know. And what that says to me is kind of what I'm dealing with, and practicing more gratitude. So tell us about that. Why is it so impactful?
Because when you're grateful for what you have, it actually makes life a lot easier, I think. Because things happen to you that are more positive, because we're talking about positivity, when you're grateful. When you're not grateful, I think things bad happen to you, honestly. I don't know. What do you think?
I feel that it's just a positive energy, and it just opens up a space in you for more good things to come in.
Right.
If you're grateful. If you're not, then you're just you're putting a block up, and then good stuff is not going to come your way. And it's even when you ask for a sign from the universe and you get one.
Right. And
say thank you.
Right.
We forget.
Always say thank you. And we do forget.
We do. Yeah, of course. Sure. You're at a restaurant, somebody brings over, a dish, thank you. You'll say thank you. But a lot of times we just forget that whole, even the little things.
And like, thank you for having me on here today. I should
Can
say
I tell
that.
you, so we talked about animals. An animal communicator, somebody's, a little intuitive with animals. I said, I was talking about my dog.
Yeah.
And a lot of times, I moved him in between places right now, and he'll, on my hardwood floors, sometimes go to the bathroom, leave an accident. And it's on me too, because I need to spend the time with him and walk him more. But when he goes to the bathroom outside, instead of, and there's a reason I'm bringing this up.
Okay.
Instead of saying, "Oh, good boy, all right, you went, good boy," say thank you. And I started doing that in the last week, and I see total difference in him because he's picking up on the gratitude.
Gosh. That makes me think about the forgiveness prayer from Ho'oponopono prayer. I've told you about that one, right?
Yeah, the Hawaiian.
Yeah, the Hawaiian prayer. It has four things to it. I don't know if I can remember off the top of my head, but you can definitely look it up. But it's the I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, and there's another one.
Isn't it whoever you're forgiving, whether you're
and yourself.
Yeah. But love.
Yeah.
I love
I
you.
love you. That's the last end of it. Yeah.
It's not that you're saying to the person who maybe did you wrong and you're forgiving them, but you're sending them love. Here, you need it more than I do.
But there's that gratitude in that too.
There is.
Even though they've hurt you, you still say thank you. It's for the lesson.
Right. Thank you for the lesson.
Yeah.
Again, we're not condoning what somebody may have done.
We're not saying it's okay.
Yeah.
But
no,
it's just
but it's like
lesson.
Thank you for what you've done.
Yeah.
I appreciate that. Now I'm moving on, and that's that. But yeah. What are the 4 again?
It's please forgive me, thank you. Please forgive me, thank you, I love you, and I'm sorry.
And I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Right. And
it might not be in that.
Yeah, I don't think it matters.
And it's the Ho'oponopono.
How do you say that? Ho'opono
prayer.
Say it again.
Ho'oponopono prayer.
And if you told me about this once, and I did Google it, and you'll find on YouTube people that do I call it meditations or manifestations of that.
There's so much on the internet about that.
And they could be a 5-minute one, or you can find an hour-long one, whatever you're into, whatever's going to work for you. And if anybody's watching this and thinks like, what's all this like spooky, kind of woo-woo stuff? I say, what do you got to lose? What do you
know.
if you could bring some more positivity into your life, why not?
I know.
Why not be grateful?
Oh, and by the way, I was also a wicked witch in a past life.
Witches are not all bad.
I know I was a good witch, but this one I was supposedly a bad one, but I don't
Really?
like to say that I was. But this one says I was, and I'm like, oh my gosh, maybe I'm paying for it now or something. I don't know.
No, you probably learn things from that, and maybe from that you've also learned in terms of what you do metaphysically.
Right.
You
Maybe.
If somebody wants to connect with you, learn more about what you do,
Mhm.
they find you on your website, right?
Yes.
What? Give that the
It's
address again.
www.starryskyconnections.com.
And I remember seeing a picture of your deck, the Oracle deck. Wow, like really cool. Can we buy that from your website? Is that
Yes, you can buy it from my
available?
website. Also, I'm on Etsy, starryskyconnections.com or Starry Sky Connections.
I've never seen anything like that.
It's just very different.
It
Yeah, it's
is.
fun. It's fun, but it has messages.
And you know what? It's simple to interpret.
Mhm.
It doesn't like go super deep. And then
Right.
you also have the book to, hold
Mhm.
your hand through it
Mhm.
at the same time.
Yeah.
Great having you on with us. Any final thoughts for anybody that is even just
Well,
looking to jump
there's
into?
one that I found that's very interesting that I just found. And did you know the word spirit in Latin is spiritus, but it also means breath, which means life.
I never knew that.
I didn't either until just recently, and I thought that
Wow,
was
that
interesting.
says a lot.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So spirit really means breathing in life,
Which is what we should be doing.
Right.
At the very least, breathe.
Yeah, right.
Take deep breaths. If you're trying to even get an answer from within, I've
Mhm.
always heard, stop,
Breathe.
breathe,
Mm-hmm.
and it'll come clear. You'll get clarity.
And we're
Carrie,
talking
great
about
having you
spirit,
here.
so
Great.
yeah. Thank you.
And you have the spirit and the energy. That's amazing.
Thank you.
Yeah,
I
I
had a great
appreciate it.
time. Thank you.
Yep. Thank you. And there you have it, everybody. If you want to go to the website, starryskyconnections.com, to learn how to manifest intuition and all of that. Thank you for watching.
Are you looking for even more of the podcasts and hosts that you love? The Podcast Business News Network is proud to announce that you now have even more ways to listen live. Check out the MyTuner Radio, online radio box, and Simple Radio apps on iOS and Android, or find us online. Search for Business News Network on mytuner-radio.com, or search Podcast Business News Network on streama.com and onlineradiobox.com/US. Take your podcast on the go and don't miss a minute of the action.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers.
Day-to-day simple tasks can become pretty daunting.
I have to carry my chair up 2 flights of steps or have somebody do it for me.
What scares me the most is just the falling.
When I'm struggling with my house, I think, to have that one great barrier just knocked down, it's crucial.
Home for Our Troops is a wonderful nonprofit that builds a
Mortgage-free, fully adaptive, handicap-accessible house. And there's no catch.
It'll be our very first home that we've ever owned.
This is a game changer.
This is where your life begins again.
We need you to join us in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Because of you, everything's going to be okay.